Hello and welcome to the Victorian Short Course Age Championships. We are underway here this morning with our 400 freestyles for our girls 13-14. We have 5 heats. In the water is heat 1. So just the 2 swimmers in this opening heat. Emma Chang in lane 4 and Matilda Barber in lane 5. These 400 freestyles are time finals, so all heats are swimming this morning. Medals presentations will happen at the conclusion of these 400s. And getting off to a good start is Matilda Barber. Matilda's entry time was 5:11.05 and Emma's entry time was 5:09.11. Matilda turns through this first 100 and 1:10.4. Followed closely by Emma, just a body length and a hard behind. So with our time final events, we'll be swimming them from the slowest heat to the fastest heat. Whereas our events which are seeded for finals to be swum this evening, they'll be swum fastest heat first. Matilda continues to lead through the 150-metre turn, and she's extended her lead over Emma to 2.5 body lengths now. So plenty of action this morning with 2 pools going. So this stream is currently covering the blue pool, which is mainly the girls' events this morning. So Matilda turns through in a 2:28.6 through the 200. Again, maintaining that sort of 3 body lengths lead over Emma. All-important third 100 now. The challenge is to keep that pressure on, keep the speed going through this third 100. Both girls are doing a really good job keeping those legs going nice and strong. Margin is maintaining that sort of 3 body length lead at the moment, Matilda over Emma. Hasn't changed much in this last 200 metres, this body lead. Matilda got off to a good start. And then Emma's sort of been holding her at that distance. And maybe has even come back a little bit over the last 50 metres as we approach the 300-metre turn. Matilda still leads through here at 3:49. But the gap is down to just 2.5 seconds with Emma turning in a 3:51. And Emma has closed to about a body length and a half now. So a good third 100 there from Emma as we move into the final 75. Emma still continues to close the distance. Matilda's going to turn into the final 50, just over a body length clear. Both girls look like they're going to be on for nice personal bests, which is always good to see with our opening heat of the meet. So Matilda's is going to take this heat out. It's got 10 metres to go. It's coming under the flags, finishing nice and strongly, and touches first in 5:04.35. And Emma also under her entry time in 5:08.35. So well done, girls, in that opening heat as we move on to heat 2. And we're underway here in heat 2. And getting the best of the starts is Millie Dodd over in lane 0. Also swimming well early, Julia and Eve in lane 2 and 3. And down here in lane 9, Katie has now moved into the lead as we approach the 50-metre turn. So all these swimmers have entry time somewhere between the 5:02 to 5:09 range. So nice and even heat we're looking for, with lots of different swimmers in contention early as we start to work towards our 100-metre turn. Katie down here in lane 9 is still leading over Julia. And probably moving into third now is Isabella in lane 7. And, Eves just still remains ahead of Isabella. As we move through this first 100, Katie was leading in a 1:08.3. So now's the challenge to these second, third and fourth 100s to try and make them as consistent as possible. Katie still leads down here in lane 9. But Julia's coming right up on her shoulder with Eve Anderson in lane 3, not letting them get far in front. Still swimming well out there in lane 0 is Millie Dodd. And also starting to come through a little bit is Chloe Joyner in lane 4. Neck and neck between Julia and Katie at this 175-metre turn. And Eve Anderson has made a big move in this second 100 and looks like she's going to actually turn first at the 200 in a 2:25. All three of our leaders turn in that 2:25. So Katie's out on her own, whereas Julia and Eve are right next to each other. Again, into this all-important third 100. Now Julia has taken over the lead. She leads through. Again, still less than a second between these top three. Chloe Joyner in lane 4 has now moved through to 4th place. And there's a great battle between our top three, and then our battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th is really between everyone still in the pool. So our top three have cleared out in front, and it doesn't look like now over in lane 2 and 3, Julia and Eve have opened up about a body length lead over Katie down here in lane 9. As they turn through the 300 and 3:41. So 75 to go. Julia's still just ahead of Eve. And it's now out to about half a body length lead as we approach this final 50. Katie, our early leader, is still holding strong in third down here in lane 9. Chloe Joyner swimming good swim back half of this race to move clear in 4th place ahead of Sienna. Julia's now out to 3/4 of a body length lead as we approach the final 25. Eve still holding on to second, with Chloe Joyner making a challenge for third, and has now just moved just ahead of Katie into this last 25. But Julia is going to take this heat out, and looks like she's going to go well under 5 minutes. So a big PB. Julia does take it out in 3:55 over Eve, with Katie just getting touched out by Chloe for third in this heat. It's good to see a number of our swimmers in that second heat swimming personal bests. Behind the blocks now, we have heat 3. Grace Cox down here in lane 8 gets the best of the starts and leads by about half a body length through this first 25 over Alicia Clark in lane 4 as they all start to settle into their rhythm. And Grace does lead through this first 50 ahead of Alicia with Jess Whiting in third. So a reminder, this event is a time final. So our time final this morning. So in our time finals, we swim our heats from our slowest heats to our fastest heat. We have 5 heats of this girls 13-14 400 freestyle. We are in heat 3. So Grace Cox does lead through the 100 in a 105.6 ahead of Alicia with Jess in third. A reminder, this is the blue pool in action. If you are looking for your swimmers in the orange pool, check out the other stream. They are underway as well down in the orange pool. Grace Cox continues to lead. And her and Alicia have cleared out from the rest of the field as we turn through the 150, with Francis over in lane 2 moving into third. So Grace set the pace early and she's continued to lead right from the start. She's now out to a body length lead over Alicia as we approach this 200-metre turn. And Grace turns through in a 2:16.42 ahead of Alicia. And Francis has now consolidated her third place with it very tight between Jess and Benita for 4th and 5th. Also challenging Jess and Benita is Tara in lane 5, and swimming well over in lane 1 is Kiara. Grace has now extended her lead to 2.5 body lengths as we approach the 250-metre turn. Alicia maintains her second place. Francis is now a body length clear of Benita in that battle for third in this heat, with Jessica and Tara neck and neck for 5th and 6th, ahead of Amelia Kennedy over here in lane 7. Grace continues to extend her lead through this third 100 as she approaches the wall for the 300-metre turn. Keeping her tempo nice and high, she turns through here in a 3:27.72. Ahead of Alicia, and Francis maintaining her third position. Again, Grace just continues to extend her lead, now out to about a 10-metre lead over Alicia as we approach the final 50. Grace had an entry time of 4:59.41. She's going to swim a long, long way under that. Alicia turns in second, and Francis is still maintaining a body length lead in third place over Benita. Battle for 4th through to 6th is nice and tight, with only about a 1.5 seconds between those 3 girls, with Benita, Tara and Jessica all in that battle for 4th. But taking out this heat, a fantastic swim, is Grace Cox down here in lane 8. And she touches the wall in 4:37.58. And that's our time to beat so far, with Alicia in second in 4:47.29. Francis in third, and the tight battle for 4th, with Benita touching ahead of Jessica and Tara. Again, we're seeing a number of our swimmers from big personal best times, which is always fantastic at state championships. moving on to heat 4. So underway here in heat 4 of our event 2, girls 13, 14, 400 metre freestyle. A reminder, these are time finals in our 400s. Again, we have an early leader out wide with Katie over here in lane 9 from Bayside. He's going to lead through this first 50, ahead of Arabella, who's in lane 8. Swimming well in the middle of the pool, Sarah Cartel and Mia Hoskins in 3rd and 4th. The battle from 2nd through to 8th place in this heat is nice and tight through this opening 100 as we're all settling into our rhythm. So a reminder that previous heat had it posted a time of 4:37, and that is a time some of these girls will be aiming to get close to. Katie does continue to lead in a 1:05.8, so similar time through this first 100 as our previous heat winner. All these girls had an entry time somewhere between a 4:49 and a 4:54. So Katie continues to lead through the 100 towards the 150 turn, keeping a nice high stroke rate going. Starting to make a move in lane 4 is Sarah, and she's consolidated 2nd place. Coming right up alongside Katie as we move towards the halfway stage of this 400. And Katie does continue to lead, but Sarah has made a move in this second 100 and has just come alongside and will look to turn first here at the 200. Sarah does turn first in a 2:18.4. Again, right on the same speed as that opening heat. So now we move into that all-important third 100. Starting to make a move in lane 3. Mia Hoskins has moved into a clear 3rd place, about a half body length ahead of Ellie and Madison. Sarah in lane 4 has now extended her lead out to a body length and a half. Katie down here in lane 9 has lost her cap, but still maintains 2nd place. Mia is starting to challenge her for that 2nd place, with the battle for 4th nice and tight across a number of athletes. Sarah still continues to lead here. Mia has moved into 2nd place, with Katie maintaining 3rd as we move towards the 300 metre turn. And Sarah leads through in a 3:31.78, ahead of Mia, with Madison now moving into 3rd and Ellie into 4th. Challenging for 4th is Vasilisa over in lane 0, and has probably actually moved into 4th through this 25. Sarah has extended her lead over Mia to 2 body lengths lead as we approach the 350 metre turn. Sarah turns first, Mia will turn in 2nd, and moving into outright 3rd now is Madison, about a body length clear of Ellie Watson and Vasilisa, who are battling for 4th over that side of the pool. Sarah's entry time here was a 4:49. Again, she looks like she's going to swim well and truly under that time. She comes under the flags here. Not going to quite get into the 4:30s, with a 4:41.33. Second fastest time we've seen today so far. Mia touching second in 4:46, with Madison in third, just holding off Vasilisa in fourth. Okay, so a reminder that these are time finals. So we're now going to move on to heat 5, which is our final heat of our 400, and will be our fastest seeded heat. They've seen the times the other swimmers have posted, and it's their challenge now to see if they can swim a best time and put themselves in contention to win a medal. So we're now underway here in our 5th and final heat. Alana McDuff, best of the underwaters, but moving through to lead at the 25 is Brooke Briscoe. And Sophie Jacker is challenging also challenging for that early lead, as well as Judy Hussain. Brooke Briscoe does lead through this first 50. Brooke does have our fastest entry time of a 4:27. A reminder, the current leader is a 4:37. 4:37 from Grace Cox. Fantastic swim. Taking over 20 seconds off her entry time. So Brooke does look like she's going to lead through the 100 in a 1:03. Following it closely is Judy, with Sophie Jacker in third, and Charlize moving into fourth place. So our opening 3 swimmers are ahead of the speed set by our previous heats. Brooke does continue just to hold a slight lead over Judy, with Sophie sitting about half a body length behind in third place. Charlize is in a clear fourth, about 2 body lengths behind our leading trio as we approach the 200-metre turn. So Brooke Briscoe does continue to lead. She's got just about an arm's length lead at the moment as we turn through the 200 and a 2:12.46 ahead of Judy and Sophie. So our opening 3 still within a second of each other. Charlize in fourth, ahead of the speed set by the earlier heats. And the battle for 5th is nice and tight, with Alana currently in the lead for 5th, but Frida, Eliza, Jennifer, Emerson and Michaela all having a nice battle. Brooke is really starting to extend her lead in this opening 50 of the third 100 and has moved out to 3/4 of body length lead, and Sophie Jacker has now moved into second just ahead of Judy Hussain. Okay, so that all-important third 100, Brooke has made a big effort here to extend her lead and try and keep that pace going. And she does continue to lead as we approach the 300-metre turn. Okay, now Sophie Jacker has narrowed the lead again as we turn through the 300 and the 3:21.3. She's just half a second behind Brooke, with Judy in third. Okay, Brooke has now re-established that half a body length lead over Sophie. But as we approach the wall, Sophie sort of accelerates into the turn to try and close that gap, and it's down to 0.3 of a second. Judy is comfortably in third, and Charlie's in fourth over the far side. A great battle over this side between Alana, Eliza and Jennifer for fifth place in this heat. As we turn into this last 50, Brooke is just half an arm length ahead. Both girls bringing those legs. Who's going to get over the top? Sophie is charging, but I don't think she's going to be able to get there. Brooke is going to hold on and just leads from start to finish. 4:27.06. Less than 0.1 of a second behind is Sophie Jacker in a 4:27.14. And in third place, Judy in a 4:34. Charlize comes in now to touch, and winning the battle for fifth is Alana, just ahead of Eliza and Jennifer. Our next event here in the blue pool is our event 3, mixed 18 and under 100 metre backstroke multi-class. Our timekeepers are just getting our backstroke ledges set up for our athletes. The first couple of times you do it, it's a little bit of a challenging process to learn. Do thank our volunteer timekeepers, because without those, then we would not be able to run these meets. Our technical officials are also helping our timekeepers get these ledges in place. All our technical officials are very experienced with our ledges, so I'm sure the timekeepers appreciate their assistance. So this event is another one of our time finals. So time finals held in this morning's session. A reminder for those of you new to multi-class swimming, it's not necessarily the swimmer that touches the wall first that will take out this event. All these swimmers will be compared to their classification times, and a point score will then be calculated. And the aim of these races is to score as many points as you can. So the higher point score, the better. So leading in the pool through the first 50 is Abby from Traralgon, just ahead of James from Geelong in lane 4 and 5. A reminder though that all these swimmers are competing against different classifications and different times. So we'll find out the results post the event. So a good indication is to see how close you can get to your personal best, because obviously that's going to earn you more points. Continuing to lead is Abby. She's extended her lead over James out to a body length, and she will touch first here. The battle to touch third between Andrew and Victor is very tight, but Abby does touch first, followed by James. Battle for third with Andrew just getting the touch ahead of Victor. Coming in next is Lockie over there in lane 2. Cooper Harrington is going to be next to the wall down here in lane 7. Very tight battle now between Evie Lee in lane 1 and Olivia Miller in lane 8. And Evie does just get the touch ahead of Olivia, and now coming in is Kiara. So again, those times are all going to be compared against their point score, so their time is converted to a point score to work at our medal winners. We'll have that medal ceremony shortly, so we'll be able to find out who our winners were. We're now moving on to event 4, our girls 17-18, 100-metre backstroke. We have 3 heats listed. Behind the blocks is heat 1. So we're now moving on to our events that have finals this evening. So the opening 3 heats, which is all of these athletes in our 100-metre backstroke, are seeded. So the fastest qualifier on times will have been placed in this opening heat in lane 4. The second fastest qualifier will be in the second heat, with the third fastest qualifier in the third heat. And then lane 5 follows the same pattern, then lane 3, and so on. Alana Banks leads through this first 50 in a 30.07 ahead of Charlize Boomer. And Ella Louis Waring is in third. Alana's extended her lead out to a body length and a half at the 75-metre turn, and is going to take out this opening heat. Coming into touch in 102, once the touchpad records that. 105.0 for Charlize, 108 for Ella, and 110 for Michaela. We just need to see if Alana's time corrected. It didn't look like it was, so it looks like that it will hold at that 103. So now heat 2 is in the water. Leading through this first 50 in heat 2 is Nicole Briscoe. She turns in a 31.1. Ahead of Tara. And over there in lane 1, Caitlin O'Keefe in third. So a reminder, these athletes are trying to finish in the top 10 to qualify for this evening's finals. Nicole has extended her lead out to 2 body length lead through this 75-metre turn. Ahead of Tara Barnwell. And Nicole is going to take this second heat out in a time of 104.99. Tara in second in a 108.43. And Jazz gets up for third in a 110.10. Ahead of Caitlin in a 110.9. So heat 3 is now in the water. So again, the objective here for a number of these athletes will be trying to finish in the top 10 to qualify through to tonight's final. Currently, we have 8 athletes who are swimming, have swum posted time under a 1:11. So it's definitely going to need to be sub 1:11 to qualify for the final. Probably even a little bit faster than that. As Charlie Millard leads through this first 50, ahead of Kiara Walsh, with Shana McClure in third. Charlie looking really good, nice and comfortable, nice fast rate as we approach the 75-metre turn. She works off the walls, getting about 8 metres off that last turn, keeping that stroke rate nice and high. She's going to take out this third and final heat of the girls 17-1800 backstroke in a 102.62. Head of Kiara in a 105.60. It was tight for thirds, with 3 swimmers in that 108 range. So that's what it took to qualify for the final. You had to be going, 108 or faster to qualify for the final of the girls 17-1800 metre backstroke. We're now going to move on to Heat 6, the girls 16 years, 200 metre individual medley. Before we start, we look like we are going to have a medal presentation. Our first medal presentation of the meet. While we wait for that medal presentation, a good chance for those of you watching the action here in the blue pool. If you're thinking, I'm not sure if the athlete that I was wanting to watch So as I was saying earlier, so this is okay, we're underway here in event 6, heat 1 of our girls 16 years junior medley. Those of you who are looking for those swimmers in the orange pool this morning, make sure you tune into the other stream. Leading through the butterfly leg will be Alana Torrance. Closely followed by Mia and Molly on either side of her. Alana turns through in a 29.36. and has extended her lead through the backstroke. Molly has consolidated second place, but Alana is now body length and a half ahead as we head through the 100-metre turn, turning in a 105.18. Molly turns in second, and moving into third now is Alexandra Skinner over here in lane 7. Alana continues to extend her lead through the breaststroke leg, and is now out to about a 7.5 metre lead over Molly. Well, Alexandra still holding off Mia for third as Alana turns into the freestyle leg. Alana had an entry time of 2:20.93. With a good freestyle leg, I think she's going to swim well and truly under that time. It's good to see the setting the standard in this opening heat of our 200 IM. And Alana's extended her lead out to nearly 12.5 metres as she looks like she's turned it off a little bit in this final 10 metres and is going to touch first in a 2:18.63. Molly coming in to touch second. With Alex in third. Mia just holding on for fourth over Annabelle. On the box now is heat 2. So Clara Seidel was the early leader through the butterfly, but now Dakota Matthews has taken over as we turn from the backstroke into the breaststroke in this second heat, with Alexandra Southern also right up alongside Dakota. Those first three are about a 2 body lengths clear, but moving into fourth place now, Jessica Proudlock over in lane 1 with a good opening 25 of the breaststroke leg. Dakota has now extended her lead out to a body length ahead of Alessandra and Clara. As we turn into the freestyle leg, moving into fourth, only just behind is now Jessica with a good breaststroke leg there. Dakota is in a comfortable position here in this second heat. Maintaining that body length and a half lead that she has over both Alexandra and Clara as we come under the flags. Dakota does take it out in a 2:25.92. got 4 of our athletes under the 2:30 barrier. So currently we have 7 swimmers who have gone sub 2:30 in this opening 2 heats. So the times have been put on the board for this 3rd heat. They know roughly what they have to do if they want to have a spot in this evening's final. Layla Mafuz leads through this opening 25 of the butterfly leg in lane 4. Swimming well out in lane 0 is Isabella King. But Layla does lead through in a 30.6 ahead of Isabel and Celeste in 3rd. Layla has now extended her lead out to 2 body lengths through this first 25 of backstroke. Moving into 2nd place is Celeste. And very tight for 3rd with Ella Will and Darcy Lochevet. So we're through the 100 and into our breaststroke leg. Starting to make a move in lane 5 is Rebecca Lang, working her way towards 2nd place. Layla does still continue to lead this 3rd heat in our girls 16 years 200 individual medley. But the margin has closed slightly. Celeste holding on to 2nd as Rebecca Lang starts to challenge her. Layla will turn first into the freestyle. Celeste in 2nd, Darcy 3rd, and Rebecca now into a clear 4th. Those 4 have extended away from the rest of the field. Remember, currently we had 7 athletes under the 2:30 mark. So looks like it will take the time around there to make that final. Layla coming to touch 226.32. Tight for 2nd. Celeste 230.5, getting that touch for 2nd. With Darcy in 3rd. And Rebecca in 4th. So we're staying on our 200-metre IMs. We're now moved on to event 8. Our girls 15 years 200-metre individual medley. We have 4 heats. Emily Vulick leads through the butterfly leg here in heat 1. That's our fastest qualifier. Her time was a 2:22.77 entry time. She turns through the butterfly leg in 30.4. Nice and tight between Olivia and Hayley for 2nd. As we're already halfway done with backstroke. Also putting together a good backstroke leg. Sky over here in lane 6. And Erica in lane 2. They have started to challenge for that 3rd place. Emily still continues to lead through the 100 in 107.05. Ahead of Olivia. And Erica's in 3rd. Now watch Hayley move through this field in lane 5. Hayley McKinder, a fantastic breaststroker. She's moved into 2nd place now. Starting to make some ground on Emily Vulick. Those two are now well clear of the field as we approach the final 5 metres for our breaststroke leg, with Olivia holding on to third place. So Emily turns first, a second ahead of Hayley. Olivia in third, second and a half ahead of Sky. Emily continues to lead and has probably extended her lead through this freestyle leg over Hayley as we come under the flags to touch in a time of 2:22.94, ahead of Hayley in a 2:25.0. Tight for third, with Olivia just getting the touch in a 2:31.90, ahead of Sky in a 2:32.0. So we're now moving on to Heat 2. Nice and even through the first 25 of butterfly. With Jess Wilson just holding a slight lead over Sojun Hui. Also swimming well out in lane lane 2, Stella Salamone, and she actually leads through this first 50, getting the best of the turn. Sojun is now first as we approach the backstroke turn. Sojun does lead through this first 25 of our backstroke leg. Reminder, these swimmers are trying to post a time inside the top 10 times if they would like a second swim this evening in the final session. Sojun leads through the 100 in a 1:07.97, ahead of Jessica, with Skylar Hay now moved into third place, just ahead of Stella. Greta Seville is also starting to make some progress over in lane 3 in this opening 25 of the breaststroke. Sojun has extended her lead over Jessica out in front as we move towards the conclusion of our breaststroke leg. Skylar Hay has now moved into second place, with Greta moving into fourth. Sojun continues to lead through into our freestyle leg, ahead of Skylar, Jess in third, Greta fourth, and swimming well over there in lane 0, Amity. So there's a battle here in the freestyle leg. Really important to make sure you try and get an extra person if you can, if your aim is to come back tonight for the final. Some of our swimmers will just be trying to hit their personal best times. Sojun, he's got this race comfortably under control as she eases off and comes into touch in a 2:26.49, ahead of Greta, with Skylar in third. Now got heat 3 on the blocks. So we have 9 swimmers currently at a 2:32 or faster, 2:32.0 or faster. Leading through our opening 50 here in Heat 3 is Andrea Tolentino. Ahead of Olivia Bailey down here in lane 8. And Catherine Boyle in lane 6. Andrea has extended her lead out to 2 body lengths over the opening 25 of our backstroke leg. Tali Gant has now moved into second place, just ahead of Catherine Boyle, as we conclude our backstroke and move into our breaststroke leg. Andrea turned first there in a 107.19. Looking good in this opening 25 of breaststroke is Tali Gant over in lane 3. And she's starting to take ground off Andrea. So Tali has closed the gap down to just under a body length over that first 25 of breaststroke, and looks to continue to make ground and come up alongside Andrea's shoulder as we head into the final 50 of freestyle. As they touch together, with Tali just in front. It's also a nice tight battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in this 3rd heat. Tali's not willing to give up the lead that she gained in that breaststroke as she turns for the final 25 just ahead of Andrea. They're breathing towards each other in this final 25, but Tali continues to extend her lead in this freestyle leg as we come underneath the flags. And she will take this 3rd heat out in a 2:25.14 ahead of Andrea, with Ashley in 3rd. Very fast heat there. So it's going to take a time well and truly under the 2 minutes 30 to make a final in this heat. So we've now moved on to our 4th heat in our 15 years girls 200-metre individual medley. Swimming really well over this butterfly leg over in lane 0, Alicia Spears. And Alicia's out to 2 body length lead after the butterfly leg, turning in a very speedy 30.12. Continuing to swim really well through the backstroke leg is Alicia over in lane 0. Again, some of these swimmers may not have swum a 200 IM this year and may be using a converted long course time to enter these state championships, as it's possible they may have not even swum a 200 IM for the last 2 or 3 years in a short course pool, as we didn't really get much of a short course season in 2020 and 2021. Alicia continues to lead through the 100 metres. Moving into second place now, Sophia Hogg. And the battle for 3rd is nice and tight between Isabel French and Scarlett Valera. Alicia's lead has decreased, but she's still going to turn into this freestyle leg with a body length and a half lead over Sophia. Those two are well clear of the rest of the field, with a nice tight battle for 3rd, currently led by Isabella French in lane 6. No doubt about it that Alicia over in lane 0 is going to swim a massive PB. probably just not quite going to be fast enough to qualify for the final. But she's going to smash her entry time in a big PB to 32.45. Finishing strong in that second half, Sophia Hogg also with a massive PB in a 2:33. And third place, Mackenzie Zack came over the top to win that battle. Also swimming under 2:40. Underway here in event 10, the girls 14 years 100-metre breaststroke. We have 3 heats. In the water is heat 1. Rani Matheson will lead through this opening 25. Just ahead of Kate Lewina. Our Victorian record in this event has now been around for a decade, with Carleen Perch's time of 109.77 for our 14-year-old girls. She's also the all-comers record. The all-comers, the fastest time set in Victoria, of 110.00. So those were set back in 2011. So we turn through this 75-metre mark, and it is now Kate who has taken over the lead as they're going stroke for stroke under the flags. Who's going to get the touch on the wall? Rani's just moved back ahead to touch in 1:15.96, ahead of Kate, with Sarah in third. So behind the blocks, we have heat 2. Getting the best of the starts is Romy Hurd, just ahead of Alicia Hanley as we move through this opening 25. Romy has now extended her lead out to a body length over Alicia, who's a body length clear of both Michaela and Tanami. So Romy turns in a 34.57. Ahead of Alicia, 36.38. The battle for third is very tight between Michaela and Tanami as Romy enters this final 25. Romy's extended her lead out to 2 body lengths now as she swims underneath the flags with 5 metres to go. And comes into touch in a time of 1:14.08. Ahead of Alicia And Michaela winning that battle for third. Also swimming under 120. So currently we have 8 athletes at 121 or faster as we enter this third and final heat. Getting the best of the starts with Zoe McKenna in lane 5. Also swimming well over that first 25 is Kate Golby. So lane 3 and lane 5 lead the first 50 here in heat 3, with Gemma Bond in lane 6 moving into third place and will actually challenge at this 50-metre turn. But it is Zoe who touches first in a 37.53, just ahead of Kate and Gemma in third. Those three are just about half a body length clear of Ruby down here in lane 8. Very nice even battle through this heat. Zoe continues to lead through that 75-metre turn, with Gemma now moving into second place ahead of Kate. Zoe continues to lead, just half a body length ahead, and Willie's going to take out this third heat in a 120.37 ahead of Gemma and Kate in third. So Zoe did swim a small PB there, so congratulations to Zoe for that heat win. As we move on to our 13 years girls 200-metre individual medley. We have 4 heats. In the water now is heat 1. Lily Kosh getting the best of the starts in lane 4, with Grace Cox, who we saw earlier in the 400 freestyle, right up alongside her in lane 5 and currently in second place. Jacinta Guri in lane 6 is now in third, with nice and even battle for fourth place across the field. Lily will lead through the butterfly leg in a 31.17 ahead of Grace and Jacinta. Lily has extended her lead over this opening 25 of backstroke. So Lily is now out to a 2 body length lead as we approach the 100-metre turn. Getting a little bit stuck on that lane rope as she turns through in a 108.07 ahead of Grace Cox in a 111. And Olivia now is in third place in a 113. Olivia is battling nice and tightly with Jacinta for that third place. Lily continues to lead through the breaststroke leg, and she's out to a 10-metre lead over Grace, and Jacinta has now moved back into a clear third position, closing that distance down to Grace during that breaststroke leg. Very tight battle for fourth between Charlotte, Elizabeth, Olivia, So leading through the 100 here in Heat 2, Jessie Steinem ahead of Salia White. And Jessie has continued to extend her lead through the opening 25 of breaststroke. Our Jessie and Salia have cleared out from the rest of the field, but a nice tight battle for third between Chloe Burke and Ji Su. So Jessie Steinem continues to lead into this freestyle leg by 2.5 body lengths over Salia White. That battle for third, nice and tight between Chloe and Ji. So Jessie is going to take this second heat out in a time of 2:29.90, getting under that 2:30 barrier. Sally second in 2:35.53. Chloe winning the battle for third. So currently we have 7 times under that 240. So seven times under that 240 mark as we move into our third heat. Annie Steele getting the best of the underwaters, but now moving up alongside her is Misha Nicholson as they turn through that opening 25 of butterfly. Annie Steele does continue to lead, had the best turn, and has come out half a body length clear of the field as we move towards the concluding stages of the opening 50. As we move on to our backstroke leg, Annie leads through in a 31.40 ahead of Misha, and down here in lane 9, Millie Dodd, who's enjoyed the outside lanes today and put in So Annie has now extended her lead out to a body length and a half throughout this backstroke leg over Misha Nicholson, with Millie Dodd down here in lane 9, still holding on to third place. Annie turns in a 1:08.62. Now looking to make a move in the opening start of our breaststroke is Emerson Hoggan in lane 5. She's starting to challenge Millie Dodd out here in lane 9. Annie Steele continues to lead and is out holding that 2 body length lead and maybe extending it slightly in this second 25 of our breaststroke. So as Annie turns into the freestyle leg in a 1:54.0, Misha is holding on to second place. Emerson made some good ground during that breaststroke leg to move into third, with Millie now in 4th. Annie has a 5-metre lead over the field, but it's a nice battle between Misha and Emerson for that second place in this heat, with Misha been sitting in second place from that opening 25, just having a half body length lead over Emerson, but it's now closing down as Emerson finishes really strongly in this freestyle leg. Annie will take this heat out in a 2:29.88 ahead of Emerson, with Misha in third, Millie in 4th, and Willow in 5th place. nice battle there across all the heats, with it looking like you're taking a 2:38.5 to finish in the top 10 athletes. Taking out this opening heat is Talia Rush in our girls 16 years 50 freestyle. We've now moved on to heat 2. Alana Torrance leads as they break out and will lead through the opening 25. It's tight for second between Samantha and Amarita. Alana will take this second heat out in time of 26.56, ahead of Amarita and Samantha in thirds. Underway here in heat 3 with Clara Seidel getting the best of the underwaters. Moving through at the 25-metre mark, Molly Cargill. There's going to be a battle between Molly and Clara as we come underneath the flags here. And Molly takes it out in a 27.13. As we now move on to heat 4. Emma Gregory out to the lead here through the first 25. And is about a body and clear of the rest of the field, which are all very even as we approach the final 10 metres. And Emma is going to take this heat out in a 27.50. That should be enough to get her through to this evening's final. And I think it might confirm that you needed to be sub 28 seconds to get a place in tonight's final. In heat 5, very even start. First to turn is Morgan down here in lane 9, just ahead. Mahalia and Ella in the middle of the pool. And Morgan does look like she's going to hold on to win this heat in a 29.03. Head of all the way over the other side, Zoe. So it had first and second from our outside lanes there. As we move on to our 6th and final heat of our girls' 16 years 50-metre freestyle. Again, very tight in this 6th heat. Turning first is Ella Bass. And Ella does look like she's going to take this heat out from start to finish in a time of 28.49. Big PB, over a second PB. Ahead of Molly with Celeste in third. All our athletes well and truly under the 30-second mark there. So well done. That 6th heat, all of our athletes swam fast in their entry time. So we're now moving on to event 18, the girls' 15 years 100-metre backstroke. As our timekeepers once again get our backstroke ledgers ready to go. Our Victorian age group records was set by Gabby Peiniger back in 2017 at a 59.13. We have 5 heats in event 18. Andrea Tolentino, best of the underwaters, and will turn first through the opening 25. We saw her put together a good 200 IM earlier in the session. Jess Wilson has now moved up alongside her and has moved into the lead as we approach the 50-metre turn. Jess will lead through here in a 31.93. Ahead of Andrea, with Alice Evans over in lane 2 in third, just ahead of Kate Middleton. Those 4 are about a body length and a half clear of the rest of the field. And they'll be looking to post times that will give them a chance to qualify for the final this evening. Jess continues to lead just ahead of Andrea, with Alice and Kate having a nice tight battle for thirds. Jess will take this opening heat out in a 106.19 ahead of Andrea. Kate getting up for third, with Alice in fourth. Alice did a nice PB there of a 2 seconds. And all the other girls were right on their entry times. So that's the pace has been set in this opening heat as we move on to heat 2. Staying under longest and coming up in head is Hannah Wagner from Bayside in lane 6, but now moving into the lead on her inside is Amelia Blake. Another good turn there from Amelia. Extends her lead out to a body length over Olivia Bailey and Hannah Wagner on either side of her. She turns first through this 50 at a 30.80. In fourth place, over in lane 0, Scarlett, just ahead of Kate. And those two having a battle for fourth and fifth, and it's starting to move into consideration for that third place in this heat. And Scarlett does turn third for this last 25, fourth for this last 25, but closing the distance down on Hannah. But Amelia will take this second heat out in a time of 1:05.22, ahead of Olivia, with Hannah in third. We now have heat 3 behind the blocks. As we just do make a few minor adjustments to our backstroke ledges before we get heat 4 underway. Sorry, heat 3 underway, I should say. So heat 3 is now in the water. Getting a fantastic start down in lane 9 is Abigail. Also starting well in lane 4 is Nicolette Wright. And those two will turn first and second, with Stella in third place. Stella has now moved into second place. Nicolette is holding on to about a 3/4 of a body length lead as we turn through the first 50 in a 32.16. Stella is in second, and now moving into third is Erica Shaw, and fourth place Olivia Bartlett. As we approach the 75-metre turn, still that half a body length lead from Nicolette, and she does stay under the water the longest on that last turn. But coming up with good speed is Stella and Erica, and it's going to be a nice tight battle between all three of these as we come under the flags for the last 5 metres. Nicolette does take it out in a 1:08.0, ahead of Erica, and Stella in third. So to be in that top 10 looks like you're going to have to be under the 109. So under the 109 looks like the mark for qualifying for the top 10.
Relax, women, relax, relax, relax. Put the other ball.
Underway here in heat 4 of our girls' 15 years 100-metre backstroke. A nice even start across the field. The early leader is Sophia Poo over in lane 1. And Sophia continues to be marginally ahead as we head into this 50-metre turn. She does turn first in a 34.673, just ahead of Darby down here in lane 8. But really, there's about 7 girls still in with a chance to win this heat. Starting to make a move through the middle is Michaela. And Michaela will turn second behind Darby. Darby looks like she has extended out to about a quarter of a body length lead over to the 2 Cheltenham teammates. And Sophia is hanging on for 4th. And on the wall, Darby does get the touch in a 1:12.09, just ahead of Michaela and Shiloh. It's good to see a number of those athletes swimming under their entry times in that 4th heat.
Take your mark.
So underway here in our 5th and final heat of our 15-year-old girls 100-metre backstroke. Jemima Faye leads through here after the 25-metre mark. But again, a nice even heat across the field. Sitting in second at the moment is Amelia Walker. Through the first 50, Jemima does lead, with Jolene and Janky equal second. Sienna in 4th. We approach the 75-metre turn. And Jemima continues to lead this heat, as she has done from the start. But really good turn over there in lane 2 from Sienna. Has probably moved her into the lead as we approach the final 10 metres. Swimming well down here in lane 8 is Janky. But it does look like Sienna is going to hold on to win this heat in a 1:14.35 ahead of Janky and Jolene in 3rd. We're now going to move on to event 20, the girls 14 years, 200-metre individual medley. We have 4 heats listed.
Take your mark.
Nell Peets, the best of the starters, and will lead through this first 25. About half a body length clear of the field. So Nell has extended that out to 3/4 of the body length as she leads through the 50-metre turn in a 30.85 ahead of Romy Hurd and Alicia Clark in 3rd. Nell continues to lead through the backstroke leg, but making a move here is Bella Murchie in lane 1. Bella Murchie did touch first at the 100, but Romy Hurd has now moved into the lead through the opening 25 of the breaststroke leg here in Heat 1 of our 14-year-old girls 200-metre individual medley. Romy's now extended her lead out to 3 body lengths. And moving into second is Alicia Clark, ahead of Nell Pete. Sorry, not ahead of Nell, ahead of Bella Murchie. So Romy Hurd is well clear in this heat now. Alicia Clark in second, Bella Murchie in third, and Sarah Pravilli has moved into fourth with a good breaststroke leg. So Romy is going to take this opening heat out in a time of 2:26.86, ahead of Alicia Clark and Bella Murchie in third. Judy Hussain Iman leads through the opening 25 of butterfly, just ahead of Sophia Bullen over in lane 0 in heat 2. Judy has extended her lead out to a body length lead at the end of this butterfly leg. And moving into second now is Hannah Borschmann. The battle for third is very tight over the other side of the pool with Sophia Ballon and Eliza Houghton. And now also challenging them in lane 3 is Kate Lewina. But Judy is now out to 3 body length lead as we approach the backstroke to breaststroke turn. Turns through this 100 in a 108.37. Ahead of Kate. And Sophia in third, with Hannah in fourth. Now we move into this all-important breaststroke leg. And the Judy's lead out in front has been reduced as Kate is putting a really good breaststroke leg together. And has closed it down to about 2 body length lead through that first 25. And Hannah Borschmann has now also moved into outright third and has made ground over this breaststroke leg as well. So the top 3 are going to be all within 2 body lengths as we turn into this freestyle leg. Judy continues to lead with a reduced margin over Kate and Hannah in third. Judy is now re-establishing her lead in this freestyle out to 2 body length lead as we turn into the final 25. And a strong last 50 from Judy. She's out to 2 body length lead, but Kate and Hannah, nice tight battle for second. Judy takes this heat out in a 2:27.73. Ahead of Kate, with Hannah in third and Rani in fourth. So we currently have 8 swimmers at a 2:34.9 or faster after these opening 2 heats. So 8 swimmers at 2:34.9 or faster. So if you want to be in this final, you need to make sure you're placing in the top 2 faster than that time from this third heat. Through the butterfly leg, Isabella Osborne is going to lead ahead of Miranda Gu over in lane 2. Brooke Briscoe has now moved into the lead after a good opening 25 of backstroke. Charlize Sticklebrook has moved into second. And Simone in third. So Simone has turned third after the first and second 50 with different leaders in front of her. As we move into this breaststroke leg, Brooke is doing a good job out in front, but also starting to make a move through is Michaela Larkin in lane 3. Brooke is now out to a body length and a half lead. Simone is moved into second place, with Charlize and Michaela having a battle for third, as Michaela Larkin in lane 3 has put together a really good breaststroke leg to move right through the field. Brooke Briscoe will turn first into our freestyle, followed by Simone, with Michaela in third, and is now challenging for second place. So Brooke is comfortably in front. It's only about a body length now, but as we approach the final 10 metres, great battle for second, with Michaela looking like she is going to get that touch for second, but Brooke does take this heat out at 2:30.39, ahead of Michaela, and Sayone in third. So I believe a 2:33 is now sitting in 10th place after that third heat. 2:33 and 10th, as we have heat 4 now in the water. So looking to take out this fourth and final heat. Over in lane 2, Julia Stipkovic. And she's going to put together a really good time, well under her entry time, at 2:37.93, ahead of Samantha Roach and Zoe in third. One of our visitors from Tasmania. We're now going to move on to event 22. The girls 13 years, 100-metre breaststroke. We have 4 heats listed. Nice even start here in heat 1. Perhaps slightly in front at that first 25 is Claudia from South Gippsland Bats down here in lane 7. But now starting to move through in this second 25. Salia White and Zoe Schneider in lane 5 and 4 respectively. And is Salia that turns first in a 36.21 ahead of Zoe, with Annie Steele in third. Those top 3 have started to clear out from the rest of the field now, have a body length and a half lead as they all turn even into that last 25, with Claudia holding on to 4th place. It is stroke for stroke here for our top 3 as they come underneath the flags with 5 metres to go and come into touch in a time of 1:16.57, with Annie Steele taking that heat out. So Lily Kosh getting the best of the starts and is now out to a body length lead as we approach the 25-metre turn. In second place is Millie Dodd, just ahead of Jacinta, Jessie and Giu. It's a nice close battle from second through 6th place in this heat. Lily is well out in front, turning through in a 33.43. With a nice battle for the other places, all turning in a 38. Lily has extended her lead out to about 8 metres as we approach the 75-metre turn. And gets good distance off that last wall, coming up at the 8-metre mark off that split stroke. Jacintra's moved into a clear second place. Still that nice tight battle for third between Millie and Jessie. But Lily will take this heat out in time of 1:11.29. Fantastic swim there by Lily. And is actually a Victorian age record. Congratulations, Lily. So Lily has broken Misha's Victorian record of a 1:11.29, 1:11.58 from set in 2018, and has also broken the Victorian all-comers record of a 1:11.66 set by Michaela Smith back in 2012. So congratulations, Lily. Fantastic swim. So now we have heat 3 in the water. And Sienna Tui leads through this first 25, just ahead of Olivia Flight And Nile's Shaman also putting in a good opening 50. Sienna leads in a 36.41. And those first three have now got a half a body lead clear of the rest of the field. And a fantastic third 25 by Sienna. She's now out to a 2-body lead over both Nile and Olivia as they battle for second place into this final 25. Sienna is going to take this third heat out. And another impressive swim. 1:15.86. With Olivia coming in second. And Nile in third. So in order to be in top 10 athletes there, you had to be a time under the 121. So 10th place is sitting at 120.93, I believe, at the moment. You can check out your results on Meet Mobile or following the live results link on the events page on the Swim Victoria. You don't trust my arithmetic. Leading through the first 25 here in Heat 4 is Francis. All these girls had an entry time of 2:27s, all within 0.2 of a second of each other. So hopefully we get a great battle between our three athletes who are in the water. So it wasn't Francis who was... Francis is a non-swimmer, so it's Angelina who leads through the first 50 in a 39.35 ahead of Mia and Heidi. Angelina continues to lead. Heidi has now moved about a body length clear of Mia in that battle for second and third. And Heidi is starting to come up onto the shoulder of Angelina for that first place. Nice tight battle underneath the flags for those last 5 metres to see who will take out this fourth and final heat. And just on the wall, it is Angelina by 0.01 of a second ahead of Heidi. It was good to see all three of those girls swum underneath their entry time. So congratulations on those PBs. So we're underway here in event 24, our mixed 18 and under 50 freestyle multi-class. We have 2 heats. Again, a reminder in our multi-class events that we are racing against individual classification times. So it's not necessarily first to the wall. But in this opening heat, Evie Lee is first to the wall in a 38.83. which is a 2-second PB. So congratulations to Evie. Kira Warwick has swam just over her personal best. So 2 good swims from that opening heat of action. A reminder, this is another one of our time finals, with medals being presented this morning. Once the race has finished, their time gets converted into a point score based on their individual classifications records. And that point score is then worked out to see who is the medalists. So again, like the race earlier today, Abby and James out in front, but this time they're also joined by Hamish Keenan. And they will all those three will battle for the first to the wall prize, as Abby does extend her lead over this second 25. But remember, first to the wall doesn't necessarily mean first overall. We have to convert those times back. But under the 30-second barrier for Abby, James touching the wall second, Hamish third, Gemma fourth. With some fantastic swims across that field. And we'll wait for the medal ceremony, which will be happening soon, where we'll be able to find out who our winners were in that event. Behind the blocks, we have moved on to our event 25, our girls 17-18 200 metre individual medley. We have 2 heats. Isabella Boyd up first through the first 15 metres. And she will touch first after 25, just ahead of Charlie Millard. And Young Hu is also moved into third place. As we approach the end of the butterfly leg, Isabella Boyd still leads, with the first 3 all under that 30-second mark. Good turn by Isabel, has extended her lead out to 3/4 of body length over Charlie. Moving into third now is Nicole Briscoe, having a good battle with Yun Hui. Isabella Boyd is now out to a 2 body length lead, with Nicole Briscoe moving ahead of Charlie Blake for second. Isabella turns in a 1:03.26. Now Charlie's starting to make her move in the breaststroke leg and has re-established second place. And is starting to make a little ground off Isabella Boyd through that first 25 of breaststroke. So we had 14 athletes entered into this girls 17-18 200 IM. Looks like we have all 7 in this heat. Looks like we do have all 7 from the next heat as well. So we'll be looking for those top 10 athletes to qualify for the final. Isabella Boyd still continues to lead by 2 seconds over Charlie, with Nicole comfortably in third. So as we move into this final 25, Isabella Boyd's putting together a good swim. Had an entry time of 2:16. She's going to swim under that in a 2:14.86. With Charlie coming in second. Nicole in third. Brianna moving through into fourth place. Now moved on to heat 2, so just missing 1 athlete in this second heat. So as these girls are our 17, 18-year-old age group, some of them may have worked out how many athletes were in this field and made sure that they were trying to beat at least 3 swimmers to guarantee their place in this evening's final. Chantel leads through the butterfly leg ahead of Chloe Millard, with Kira Lee Shepherd in third. So good underwaters there from Chantel off that backstroke turn. Curly is still just half a stroke behind Chloe Millard in their battle for second, as Chantel leads through in a 107.18. Curly does just touch ahead of Chloe. Tara Barwell in fourth, and Kayla Jones in fifth. Having a good battle with Taylor Viney over in lane 2 and 1. Chantel Underwood continues to lead through the opening 25 of our breaststroke leg. Chloe Millard has now re-established second place and's moved a body limit clear of Curly Shepherd. Expect Curly to close reasonably strongly, as she's known for her endurance freestyle background. Also putting together a good breaststroke leg over there in lane 1 was Taylor Viney, and she's now moved into a clear fourth position ahead of her teammate down here in lane 7, Tara. As we come under the flags for our freestyle leg, Chantel is going to take this heat out in a time of 2:22.97. Chloe in second, 2:25.55. I did not get you confused with your sister. 2:28 for Curly in third. Taylor in fourth in 2:33.28. So our next event on the program in our blue pool is event 27, the girls 16 years, 200 metre breaststroke. We have 3 heats. On the blocks is heat 1. Alana Torrance leads through this opening 25. So fantastic first 50 there and a 34 point for Alana as she moves out to a 5 metre lead through the 75 metre turn. A nice battle for second between Darcy and Zara in lane 5 and 3 respectively. Also swimming well, Jessica Pradlock. We saw Jessica put together a good breaststroke leg in the medley before. Alana turns first through the 100 and a 1:13.69. And Darcy's now extended her lead in second place, with Zara holding off Jess for third as we move into the third 50 of this 200 breaststroke. Alana's doing a really good job of keeping that stroke nice and long and relaxed, which you want to see in that 200. Trying to get that power and that kick, but staying nice and long out in front. Turns in a 1:53.9. She's got a 10 metre lead nearly over Darcy in second, Zara in third and Jess in fourth. Alana had an entry time of 2:36.02. She's put together a really good swim, and she's going to swim well and truly underneath that entry time as she takes this opening heat out in a 2:34.22. Darcy's coming in for second, also swimming a PB in a 2:41.33. With Zara getting the touch for third, ahead of Jessica. It was nice to see. We had all four of those athletes in the first four places swim PB, as well as some other PBs for our swimmers who finished between 5th and 8th. Madeline Horvath in lane 4. Again, extending her lead over this opening 25 out to about a body length ahead of Madeline Pierce in lane 2. So Madeline Horvath does have an entry time that is 9 seconds faster than the second fastest in this heat, so do look for her to be well out in front. Swimming good second 25 is Sky Munro, who's now moved into second place from South Gippsland Bass in lane 6, with Chloe King moving into third. Madeline Horvath keeping it nice and long through this opening 100 as she approaches the 100-metre turn and turns through in a 1:15.91. Sky Munro is going to touch second, just ahead of Chloe King. Both of them turning in a 1:22. With Annabelle Glover and Madeline Pierce having a nice battle for 4th and 5th. Battle for second is still nice and tight, with Chloe King now moving into second place, just ahead of Sky Munro, as Maddie Horvath turns into the final 50. Also making a move over this second 100, Annabelle Glover has now started to challenge for third place with Sky Munro. Chloe King holds down second, about a second clear of that battle for third place. Madeline Horvath is 10 metres clear out in front, and so is going to comfortably win this second heat, with Chloe turning in second place, still maintaining that body length lead over the battle for third between Annabelle and Sky. So Maddie comes in to take this heat out in a 2:38. Just over an entry time, with Chloe King taking out second in a 2:49, with Sky just getting the touch for third over Annabelle. Now moving on to heat 3 of event 27, the girls 16 years 200-metre breaststroke. Dakota Mathers getting the best of the starts, followed by Lila McNamara in lane 5 and Emily Price in lane 6, with Vida Haynes in lane 3, also challenging for that third place over the opening 25. Dakota's just maintaining a slight lead as we turn through this opening 50, with Vida moving into second and Lila in third. Those first four are all within 3/4 of a second of each other, so a nice battle looks like it's building here in heat 3. It does look like that time, somewhere around that 250 mark, is what's going to be required to make this final, potentially even a little bit under, if these four swimmers can really push each other towards personal best swims. Dakota has an entry time of 240, but the others are all around that high 246 for Lila, out to a 250s for the other three in contention for second place. Dakota turns through in the lead in a 119, followed by Lila, with Vida in third and Emily in fourth. Dakota has started to extend out to a body length lead. And now Vida has moved into second place ahead of Lila. Lila looking like she's getting the best of the turns though. So Lila's making distance off the walls, and then Vida's making distance during the swimming portion of this turn of breaststroke. Dakota will turn first as we move into this last 50, ahead of Lila McNamara, with Vida Haynes in second and Emily in third and Emily Price in fourth. Lila's maintaining position just on the knees of Dakota as we approach this final turn. Just trying to stay nice and long off this final wall, even though you'll be short of breath, wanting to come up, trying to keep that distance off that split stroke. Dakota's now started to extend out to a full body length lead. Lila has now extended her second place out to a body length lead with a battle nice and tight for third. Dakota does take this out in a 244.85, ahead of Lila in 246.75, with Vida in a 249.45 and Emily in a 250.39. And Emily might have just snuck in 10th place, I believe. moving on to event 29, our girls 15 years 50 metre freestyle. We have 7 heats. In the water now is heat 1. Giselle Davey and Amelie Vulik giving the best of the start. Giselle is now extended out to about half body length lead through that first opening 25. And extended that lead further in this second 25 and is going to take this opening heat out in a time of 25.88.
Stand down, girls, that's on your right.
Now we're moving on to heat 2. Very even start in heat 2. With Skylar Hay going to turn first, just ahead of Alicia Spears. Skylar had the best of the turns and extended out to half body length lead as we come under the flags to finish this second heat, and takes this out in 26.80 over Alicia in a 27.47, and Jessica Wilson in third in 28.02. Behind the blocks, we now have heat 3. Andrea Tolentino in lane 4 comes out in front. Also with a really good start down here in lane 8 is Nicolette Wright. Andrea turns first. Moving into second place now, Greta Knapp in lane 3. Andrea is going to take this third heat out in a time of 27.10 ahead of Greta. And Catherine Boyle in third. So currently sitting in 10th place, those 28 O's. So we'll see if we get any swimmers from our non-seeded heats being able to challenge for a position in the final. Fantastic start down here in lane 8 from Angela Lee. But turning first in this heat is Stella Salamone. And Stella does look like she's going to take this fourth heat out, just ahead of Charlie Price-Wick in a time of 28.83. Stella does take this heat out, with Charlie in second and Madeline in third. We're now moving on to heat 5. Erica Shaw is going to turn first through the first 25 in lane 3 from Shepparton. Fantastic underwaters has consolidated that lead, and she looks like she's going to take this heat out. And she does take this heat out in a time 28.59 ahead of Isabella Canti and Kate Morrison in third. Again, good to see a number of those swimmers swimming personal bests as we move along now to heat 6. Jolene Lynn, best of the starters, but turning through the first 25 in first is Lucy Delbridge in lane 3. And Lucy's extended her lead over this second 25 out to half a body length. Very tight battle between Isabella and Charlotte. And Lucy takes it out in a 29.05. In second place, Annabelle, as we move on to our 7th and final heat of our girls' 15 years, 50-metre freestyle. Best of the starters down here, Alexandra Nicholson. And up alongside her, Olivia Gills. And those two turn first. Also starting well is Mackenzie Zack over in lane 1. With 10 metres to go, Mackenzie Zack has moved into the lead just ahead of Olivia Gills. And Mackenzie Zack does take this heat out in a 29.40 ahead of Lauren Chu and Olivia Gills in third. We're now moving on to event 31, the girls' 14 years, 100-metre butterfly. We have 3 heats listed. On the blocks is heat 1. Isabella Osborne from MLC in lane 4 will lead through this opening 25. Just ahead of Miranda Gu, her teammate. And Sion Kinzet in lane 3. Isabella has extended her lead out to a body length and turns in 30.11. Ahead of Miranda, Sion in third. And Lillian Staggard over in lane 1 moving into 4th. It is a nice tight battle for 4th between Lillian, Kiara, Eliza, Hannah, all in that battle for 4th place. But Isabella has control of this heat. And an entry time of 104. And it's going to be not too far off that as she comes into the wall to touch in a 105.27. Ahead Miranda. And Sion in third. We're now moving on to heat 2. Look for Nell to lead after the underwaters, as she's very strong underwater and quick off the blocks in a number of her races. And she's extended out to 3/4 of the body length lead through this opening 25. Ahead of her teammate on her outside in Andrea. Audrey on her outside. And Nell does continue to lead through the first 50 in 30.61, ahead of Audrey. With Georgia down here in lane 8 in third. Nell leads through the 75, hasn't extended any further over Audrey in lane 3. Audrey continues to sit just on Nell's feet as we move into the final 10 metres. And Nell will take this second heat out in a 105.81. Ahead of Audrey. As we move it on to our third and final heat. We currently have 8 of our athletes at a 1:10.5 or faster. So that's giving you an idea of what you'll need to post to qualify for tonight's final. Judah Hussain leads through this opening 50. She's put together a number of good swims already today. Emily Ortieri is in second place in lane 3, with Layla in third. Having a good battle with Sienna Barkey over here in lane 6. Judy continues to extend her lead out to a full body length now over Emily as we approach the 75-metre turn. Judy's able to stay underwater just a little bit longer than Emily and consolidate that body length lead in this final 25. As we move under the flags, Judy will take this heat out in a 1:06.59 ahead of Emily and Sienna in third. Nice tail-tight battle with Samantha and Layla for that third place. It does look like you need to swim a 1:10 or faster to progress to tonight's final for our 14-year-old girls 100-metre butterfly, as we now move on to event 33, the girls 13 years 200-metre freestyle. We have 6 heats listed, with Sophie Jacker getting off us started and will turn first through this opening 25. It's good to see 6 heats of athletes in our 200 freestyle. Great event to give a go to. In second place through this first 50 will be Abby Hogg. Sophie Jacker leads through to 29.99, with Abby in second and Arabella Tomlinson in third. Also swimming well from Northwest Aquatic in lane 6, Frances Bodville. And starting to make a move in lane 5 is Sienna Tui. So Sophie has just continued to slowly extend this lead through this middle 100 of this 200. The battle for second, third, fourth and fifth is still nice and tight, with currently Abby Hogg still leading over there in lane 2, ahead of Sienna Tui. And Frances and Allegra starting to challenge for those minor places. Reminder, our top 10 athletes will be qualifying from this event to our finals to be swum tonight. Sophie had an entry time of 2:11.75 and she's going to swim under that in a 2:09.95. Coming in second is Sienna, with Abby getting third, ahead of Allegra and Frances. Very tight battle there for the minor places. We'll see how those times stand up as we now move along to heat 2. Fantastic underwaters there from Alana McDuff to take the early lead here in heat 2, and she leads by 3/4 of body length as they turn through that opening 25, ahead of Misha Nicholson over in lane 1. So Alana turns through in a 29.71, followed by Misha, with Katie Govett Page in third. So again, Alana's just continuing to extend her lead in this second 50 with a very tight battle for second place. Now moving into second in lane 5 is Madison Brand from Ailebury. Just ahead of the battle over in lane 1 to 3 between Misha, Elliott and Page. So Alana turns first in a 102, Madison in a 105, and that nice tight battle for third, all turning in within 0.25 of each other. So Alana continuing to extend her lead. Madison looking comfortable in second now. 3/4 of body length ahead of Katie, who's just ahead of Elliott and Misha. So Alana has slowly extended her lead throughout this heat. She had an entry time of 2:12.83, and she does look like she's going to be just a little bit underneath that as she comes into the wall now and touches in at 2:12.42. With Madison in second, Katie in third, so on the blocks we now have heat 3. A number of these athletes are in the water for the third time this morning. Nice even start between lane 3 all the way across to lane 7 in this opening 25. Annie Steele getting the best of the turns in lane 4 and is now established her lead as we approach the 50-metre turn. Annie is going to turn first here in a 30.10, ahead of Grace Cox and Willow Field in third. So 7 swimmers have swum under a 2:18 so far. So it looks like it's going to take a nice strong swim to position yourself in tonight's final. As we come through the 100, Annie Steele will lead in a 1:04.29 ahead of Grace Cox. And in third place now it's Benita Ambrose. Benita and Willow Field are having a nice battle for that third and fourth position. Also swimming well is Chloe Birkin over in lane 2. So Annie Steele is a body length clear of Grace Cox as we approach the 150-metre turn. And Annie turns through in a 1:38.97 ahead of Grace, with Benita in third, ahead of Chloe Burke and Willow Field. Okay, 10 metres to go now. Annie is going to take this heat out in a 2:12.15 ahead of Grace. It does look like now 10th is sitting at that 2:18 mark. 2:18.65 is sitting in 10th place after our opening 3 heats. very even across the field here in Heat 4. Turning first is Annalise Rolfe from Loreto, just ahead of Catherine Marnie over in lane 0. Going neck and neck still through this first 100, with Annalise Rolfe just ahead, turning in at 109.43. But 7 girls are still in with a chance in this heat. Matilda swimming well down here in lane 8. And those girls over in lane 0 and 1, Catherine and Layla, also swimming well. Now moving up into second place is Eloise Ravensdale in lane 3, and starting to challenge. Annabelle Ralph has been our leader throughout, getting the best of the turns was Eloise, and she's now in the lead. Matilda down here in lane 8 also got a good turn, and swimming through now Jiu and Rihanna. As we come into this last 25, Rihanna has swum over the top of everyone and is extended out to a full body length lead, and will take this 4th heat out in a time of 2:22.85, swimming a 2-second PB. Fantastic battle across that heat from all our athletes, as we now move along to Heat 5. So Heat 5 is now in the water. We have 6 heats in this event, so this is our second last heat. With Elizabeth Mack turning first through the first 25. Anika down here in lane 8 has taken over the lead, just ahead of Lulu, and over the far side, Katie. Katie's putting together a really strong second 50 and has moved clear as we approach the 75-metre turn. Strong Dolphins off the wall, getting out to the 7-metre mark, and has now extended her lead out to about a body length over the swimmers over this side of the pool. So turning through the 100 is Katie in a 109.50, with Asia moving into second place in lane 5. Katie looks like she's doing a really good job of keeping that pressure on in this third 50, and has extended her body length to her lead to a body length and a half as we approach the 150-metre turn. Asha is now comfortably in second as we move into our final 50, with Elizabeth, our early leader, holding on to third place. It's nice to see Katie try and bring those legs in nice and strongly in this last 50. Same with Asha, as those two battle it out for the heat win. It is going to be hard for Katie to be chased down. And Ash is giving it her best effort as we approach the final 10 metres. Katie will take Heat 5 out in a time of 2:22.93, ahead of Asha, with Elizabeth in third. Some big PBs from those first 3 girls. as we move on to our sixth and final heat of event 33, the girls 13 years, 200 metre freestyle.
Thank you, Mark.
So Millicent is our early leader through this first 50 in heat 6, and she's going to turn first in 32.56, just ahead of Alicia, with Olivia in third. So our athletes in this heat have entry times between 2:29 and 2:30. So look to see how many of our athletes can swim underneath their time and set a personal best. Millicent still leads through this 100-metre turn. It's nice and tight. She turns through in 109.87, just ahead of Olivia, and now moving into third is Indiana. But nothing to split these first four, with Kaylee and Isabel in lane 6 and 7, also putting in good swims. So through this third 50, Millicent still hasn't let go of that lead, but just now Indiana has moved in front as we approach the 150-metre turn, and will turn in the lead by 0.3 of a second over Millicent, with Alicia in third, and Kaylee has now moved into fourth place. Indiana looks like she's extended her lead as we approach the final turn. Millicent still maintaining her position in second, and a nice battle for third between Alicia and Kaylee. Indiana is going to take this sixth and final heat out, swimming a long way under her entry time. She posts a time of 2:23.33, ahead of Millicent, with Kaylee in third, Alicia fourth, Isabella fifth, and Olivia sixth. All our swimmers in that heat have swum personal best times, so congratulations, girls. We're now moving on to event 35, a girls 17-18, 50-metre freestyle. We have 3 heats.
Thank you, Mark.
Paris Burlock staying under the water longest and coming up in front in lane 4. Her head of Abby J. Warner and Chantel Underwood on her either side of her. But Paris will take this opening heat out, coming under the flags, and touches in a time of 25.92, ahead of Chantel and Abby in third. We now move on to heat 2.
Thank you, Mark.
Isabella Boyd coming up first, just ahead of Yoonhee Kim. Isabella's extended her lead through that first 25, now up to 3/4 body length lead off the wall. And she will take this second heat out, ahead of Yoonhee. Coming into touch in a time of 25.74. With Yuhi in second and Ruby in third. As we move on to our third and final heat.
Thank you, Mark.
Once again, lane 4 leads through the first 15 with Holly Neville. Ahead of Alana Banks. Holly turns first, followed by Alana, with Shana McClure in third. And Holly takes that heat out in 25.48. Ahead of Alana.
Clear the door, swimmers, clear the door. Backstroke leaders to the lead.
Some very impressive times in that heat there, with Holly's Neville swimming a PB and getting within half a second of that Victorian state record set back in 2018 by Julia Hawkins. Julia's Victorian record was a 25.00. We are now moving on to event 37, the girls 16 years, 100 metre backstroke. We have 4 heats. As we get the last of our backstroke ledges ready to go.
Thank you, Mark.
Tamara in lane 5, out to our early leader here as we approach the 25 metre mark. And she does turn first, just ahead of Alessandra Southern over in lane 2. Tamara leads through the 50 in a 31.74. Ahead of Alessandra in second and Kira in third. Tamara continues to lead here from Bayside, moving into second as she has been throughout the race is Alessandra. Tamara takes it out in a 106.47, with Kira getting into third. We've now moved on to Heat 2.
Thank you, Mark.
Emma Gregory in lane 3, getting the best of the starts, and will turn first through the 25 ahead of Alexandra Skinner. And in third place, Alessa Lever. Emma still continues to lead by half a body length. and turns first in a 31.36. 0.4 of a second ahead of Alex, with Alyssa in third. Those three have cleared out by 2 body lengths over the rest of the field. As we go through the 75-metre turn, Alexandra has now come up alongside Emma. As we approach the final 10 metres, they're going stroke for stroke. Alex does look like she's pulling clear slightly under the flags, and will take this heat out in a 105.20. Ahead of Emma, with Alyssa in third. So we're now moving on to Heat 3. Madeline Doyle in lane 5, coming up to the early lead. And she will lead through here, just ahead of Molly Cargill in lane 4, and Celeste Ellis in Samantha in lane 8. Maddie and Molly have now moved ahead of the field as Madeline turns first, at 31.56, just ahead of Molly, with Layla now into third place, having a nice tight battle with Samantha. Through the 75, Madeline Doyle still leads ahead of Molly Cargill. And those two girls will battle this heat win out, with Molly Cargill coming strongly over this final 25, and looks like she will move into the lead on the touch in a 106.11 ahead of Maddie Doyle, with Layla in third. It does look like to make that final, you need to post a time under the minute 10. We have 10 swimmers currently under the minute 10 as we have our fourth and final heat in the water. Upstroking first is Anna Waddell in lane 6 from Furbank Aquastars. And Anna leads through the first 25. Just ahead of Morgan down here in lane 8. And a very tight battle over the other side of the field between all our swimmers. Anna continues to lead through this first 50, turning through in a 34.23. I know that Anna's on the comeback from a knee injury, with Morgan now challenging her on this third 25. As they go into that final turn, they turn neck and neck. Morgan getting the better of the turns, getting that extra dolphin kick underwater and coming up in front. So Morgan looks like she's going to take out this fourth and final heat of the girls' 16 years 100-metre backstroke, and comes into touch in a 111.69, just ahead of Anna. Both of those girls swimming big PBs, taking off about 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds from their entry times. As we now move along to event 39, the girls' 15 years, 100-metre butterfly. We have 4 heats. In the water is heat 1, with Giselle Davey off to a fantastic start and is already out to a body length lead over this opening 20 metres. She turns first. Giselle has an entry time of 101.69. Showed some good speed earlier in the 50 freestyle. And leads through the first 50 here in 29.23. Ahead of Greta Knapp and Olivia Bartlett in third. Giselle's continued to extend her lead in this second 50 and will comfortably take this opening heat out. Greta Knapp will maintain that second place all the way through the finish. In a 1:02 is Giselle's time, 1:02.9. Greta in a 1:07.23 is in second place, just ahead of Kareen. Kareen Tan in third. As we move now to heat 2. Andrea Tolentino fastest on the blocks and best of the underwaters to come up into the early leads. But it is nice and even across this opening 25. Andrea will turn just first. Ahead of Sky. Andrea turns first at the 50 in a 30.95. Sky in second and Courtney in third. Having a good battle with Courtney is Kira Stevens in lane 7. Andrea continues to lead through that 75-metre turn. Sky consolidating second. Courtney is starting to clear out for third, with Kira in fourth. Having a good battle over the far side with Sienna and Sarah in lane 0 and 1. Andrea does take this heat out in a 1:06.75 ahead of Sky. And Courtney finishing strongly in that second 50. With Sarah getting the touch for fourth. We're underway here in heat 3. Again, getting a fantastic start as she has in all of her races so far today. Alicia Spears. And she will lead through this for opening 25. She's good in the 200 IM, good in the 50 freestyle, and a fast starter here in the 100 butterfly. Surgeon Hui is in second place, just ahead of Stella Salome. Alicia's continued to lead through the 75-metre turn. Sojin is starting to move up onto her shoulder. So it's a good battle for these last 10 metres as we come underneath the flags. Who's going to get that timing on the wall? And it is Sojin in a 1:04.68, just ahead of Alicia. Onto our fourth and final heat. Looks like you had to go a 1:08 to put yourself in contention for that final. As in this final heat, Chloe Green is going to lead through the first 50. Ahead of Abigail and Stephanie. Chloe's just got that 3/4 of body length lead. It's all important in that second 50 of a 100 butterfly to keep that tempo up. Keep your hips up. Keep those legs going. Especially in this last 25, you don't want to feel like your hips and legs start to drop as you start to get fatigued. You need to keep those hips and feet up. As we're in those final 10 metres now. And taking this heat out will be Chloe in a 1:13.43, ahead of Stephanie with Abigail in third. We're now moving on to event 41, the girls 14 years 50-metre freestyle. We have 8 heats. On the blocks is heat 1. Very even across this opening 25, with Romy Hurd and Bella Murchie just ahead of the fighting pack. As we come underneath the flags, looks like Bella may have just moved into the lead. Who's going to get the hand on the wall first? Both of them. In a 27.35, with Layla in third. We now move on to heat 2. Sticklebrook gets the best of the starts in lane 5. Also going well early is Victoria McKenzie over in lane 1. Those two will be battling it out for the heat lead as we come under the flags. And it is Victoria. As we move on to heat 3. In lane 6, Gabrielle King, the early leader, but now moving through in lane 3 is Sophia Bollen. Sophia does look like she's probably about a quarter of a body length lead here and will take this third heat out in a time of 27.71, ahead of Alicia Clark, that is, and in third place Gabrielle King. We're now moving on to heat 4. Again, lane 6 getting the best of the starts. India Peleg, as she turns first. Coming up alongside her now in lane 4, Chelsea. And also swimming well over in lane 2, Jennifer. Does look like Jennifer's going to now take this heat out in a 28.83, just ahead of Eliza, with Abby in third. So that 28 low is what was required to get into that final. We'll see if any of these swimmers in this later heats can pop a surprise. Rani Matheson leads through this first 25. Emma Tulik has now taken over the lead. Rani's moved back into the lead. Those two are going neck and neck as we come under the flags. And it will be, with a better touch, Emily Tulik takes it out in 29.0. Ahead of Rani with Alicia in third. We now have heat 6 in the water. Our Geelong pairing of Ellie and Sarah, the best starters, and they'll lead through this first 25, neck and neck. Ellie stayed down a little bit longer than Sarah, but both still neck and neck as we come under the flags with 5 metres to go. And Ellie gets the touch in 28.92, just ahead of Sarah, with Mia down in lane 8 from Surrey Park coming in third. We're moving now to heat 7. In lane 5, Amelia Kennedy off to a fantastic start and about half a body length clear of the field. Turning in second is Sophia Lyons in lane 2. Amelia Kennedy will take this heat out. Tight battle for second between Sophia and Julia. Amelia takes down 28.97. With Sophia in second, 29.50, and Julia third, 29.61. As we move on to our 8th and final heat. Fantastic Dolphins underwater down in lane 7, lane 8 by mystery swimmer, but I'm guessing it is Lucia who has accidentally swum in the wrong lane. Moving through in this second 25, Georgia Hyde, and she will take this final heat out in a time of 29.30, ahead of Matilda, with Lucia in third. We're now moving on to event 43, the girls 13 years, 100 metre butterfly. We have 3 heats.
Stand down, girls.
A reminder, we have 2 pools in action this morning. That's why you'll be hearing some whistles in the background, and sometimes our athletes getting a little bit excited that their race is happening. So you're watching the live stream of the blue pool. If you want to be watching the live stream of the orange pool, make sure you swap over. And then they'll be all in the one pool for this evening's action. For our finals. Leading in this opening heat from Ballarat, Zoe Schneider, and turns through the first 50 in a 30.96. Grace Cox has now moved alongside her. They turn equal through the 75 as we come into that final 25. Grace Cox has now moved into the lead as she will take this opening heat out in a time of 1:06.91, ahead of Zoe, with Alana in third. So heat 2 is underway, with Lily Kosh coming up in front in lane 4, ahead of Jessie Steinman in lane 5. Also starting well down here in lane 8 is Millie Dodd, and in lane 7, Abby Hogg. Lily Kosh has moved out to a body length lead in this second 25, ahead of Jessie Steinman. Still swimming well down here in lane 8, Millie Dodd. who's enjoyed the outside lanes today and put in some really good performances. Lily turns first in a 30.06, with Jessie in second and Millie in third. All swimmers doing a really good job of keeping their tempo going here in this third 25. As Lily turns through the 75-metre first, still Jessie in second. So we saw a state record earlier in the day from Lily. She's putting another good swim together here. Had an entry time of 105.46, and is going to swim under that in a 104.00. With Jessie finishing in second and Millie in third. So far through these opening two heats, we've had 4 swimmers under the minute 10, and then another 4 swimmers on that 110. So in this third heat, you'd be looking to be swimming under the minute 10 to give yourself a chance to guarantee your spot in that final. Otherwise, you definitely want to be going low 1 minute 10s. Sophie Jacker leads So Sophie Jacker led through the first 50, continues to lead through the 75, with Madison Brand in second. And Bronwyn Zheng now moving into third with a strong second 50. Bronwyn is going to challenge Madison for that second place, but Sophie Jacker takes this third heat out in a 108.55, with Madison in second and Bronwyn in third. So it looks like all the 110s will make it through to that final. Unless... Oh, so we're moving on to our 400 freestyles now. So event 46, our girls 15 to 18 400-metre freestyles. So for these medals, they will be split up into their individual categories, and these are another one of our timed final events. So in our timed finals, we swim our slowest heats first, and we move towards our fastest heat as we're going along. We have 5 heats of our 400 freestyle today. In the water is heat 1. Just our 2 athletes in the water, Mackenzie Zack in lane 3 and Kate Morrison in lane 5. Kate leads through in a 31.68. So our 400 freestyle is really important to get yourself out nice and fast in that first 100, but feeling relaxed. So easy speed through that first 100, and then you need to start to put that pressure on in that second 100 to maintain that speed, and then really attack that third 100. So Kate turns through in a 108.01, ahead of Mackenzie in a 108.96. A lot of these swimmers will probably be swimming only their second or third short course 400 freestyle, as they may have only had one chance earlier in the season to qualify for states. And then obviously over the past 2 years haven't had a chance to compete in the short course events due to our various COVID lockdowns. So it is an event that you do need to practice and learn from. So we'll look to see how many of these swimmers can improve on their entry times that they posted to qualify for these state championships. So So Kate Morrison's entry time was a 5:57.17, and Mackenzie Zack's entry time was a 5:58.05. So they're those times we want to follow for these girls as we turn through the 200. Still Kate in the lead, 2:23.94. So that means she's gone a 1:15 for that 100, Kate, 1:15.9. So they're still staying that same distance apart, about a body length. As Mackenzie's trying to put a big effort in this third 100. It's a really important 100. It's the hardest 100 to maintain your speed. When you get to that last 100, get excited because the end is near. The challenge in this third 50 is make sure you're keeping that pressure on, keeping that speed on. You really want to see that second, third and fourth 100 all be swum at pretty much the same speed. So Kate Morrison continues to lead in this heat. So Kate Morrison continues to lead. That 100 is a little bit slower and about a 1:18. Mackenzie's moved up right alongside her as they approach the final 75. So it looks like we're going to have a good battle here through the final 100 of this opening heat. So now moving into this 350 metre turn, and Kate still leads by just 3/4 of a second. As we're looking for both of these swimmers to swim personal best times. So into that final 25, Kate Morrison's started to re-extend that lead out to a body length and a quarter. And is coming under the flags. And getting that head down and touching in 4:57.15, which is a 0.102 PB. 0.02 PB from Kate there, with Mackenzie just over her personal best. So good swim, girls, as we now move along to heat 2. So heat 2 is in the water. We've got Sophia Hogg in lane 0, Riley Cordo lane 1, Taylor Watson lane 2, Courtney Mudge lane 3, Ella Wills lane 4, Kira Stevens in 5, Charlotte Graham in 6, and Amelia Walker in 8. So Charlotte Graham does take the early lead here through this first 50 in a 31.39. I always like to see those swimmers be nice and aggressive, nice and positive in that first 100, giving yourself a chance, getting out nice and fast. The key is to get out nice and fast, but feel nice and relaxed. So Charlotte continues to lead, with Riley and Taylor battling for second with Kira. So Charlotte turns in a 1:06.25. And it's looking really nice and long and smooth and relaxed. Riley is maintaining second place now and has moved to half a body length clear of Taylor on her inside. And Taylor is just ahead of Kira over here in lane 5. As we move through the 150 metre turn, Charlotte is out to about a 3-metre lead over Riley, with Taylor in third, just ahead of Kira and Sophia over in lane 0. So really good battle for third at the moment as we start to work our way towards the midpoint of our race. Charlotte still doing a really good job out here in front, focusing on her own race as she comes to the 200-metre turn in a 2:17. So turning in a 2:11 there. So a 1:11 for that 100. 1:11 for that 100. So our swimmers in this heat have entry time somewhere between a 4:46 out to a 4:58. So we'll see how many of our swimmers can swim on their personal best times. So Charlotte continues to lead through the 250, with Riley extending her control of second place, and Sophia Hogg has now moved into third, just ahead of Taylor and Kira. So she first 100 was a 1:06. And now she's second 100 was a 1:11. Now through the 300-metre turn, she turns in a 3:28.7. So she's a 1:10.9 there. It's a really good job maintaining that pressure through that third 100 from Charlotte. Riley is consolidating second place and is a body length clear of the tight battle for third between Sophia, Taylor and Kira. But Charlotte is putting together a really good swim in this second heat and is out by 8 metres as we come to the final 50 metres. Riley's further extended in second place. That battle for third is really tight, with less than half a second between Sophia, Taylor and Kira. So Charlotte's got 25 metres to swim and is 10 metres clear of the field. Has put in a really good swim in this 400 freestyle. Charlotte had an entry time of 4:48.17 and is going to swim well and truly under that, finishing in a 4:38.97. 4:38.97, so taking 10 seconds off her entry time. Fantastic swim by Charlotte. Riley hangs on for second. Taylor came home strong for third, ahead of Kira in fourth and Sophia in fifth. So now moving on to heat 3. A reminder, so in these events we're looking not only for our fastest times, as these are time finals being competed all this morning, so we'll have our medal presentations at the conclusion of this event, but there are also different age categories in this event. So there'll be the 15-year-olds age category, the 16-year-old age category, and then the 17-18 age category. So lots of races within a race, as in heat 3, Sojin Huang leads through at a 30.7. So nice and even in this heat through this first 50 as we approach the 75-metre turn. So these swimmers all have entry times between 3:38 from Sojin out to a 4:45. So Sojin does lead in a 1:04.20 for that first 100. So in the pool we have Holly in lane 1, Holly in lane 0, Kate in lane 1, Jasmine in lane 2, Madeline lane 3, Sojin lane 4, Alana in 5, Natasha in 6, Emma in 7, and Mia in 8. Sojin does continue to lead through the 150-metre mark and has started to pull away from the rest of the field. Alana Cummings is holding second, just ahead of Emma Harrison. So a reminder, currently the leading time was a 4:38.97 posted by Charlotte Graham in the previous heat. Sojin turns through the 200 in a 2:12. And that's a 107 high for that 100, 107 high for that 100 after a 104 first 100. So she's managed to keep that speed on pretty well. A 3-second drop off from that first 100 to the second 100 is pretty much ideal. And now we'll see if we can see if Sojin can maintain this tempo through this all-important third 100. Alana Cummings is about half a body length clear in third place over Emma Harrison and Mia Yo. Also battling for that third place is Madeline Burns and Jasmine Kozidis. So Sojin Huang continues to lead. As we approach the 300-metre turn. And she turns in 3:19.60. Again, another 107 for that 100. So managing to maintain that speed from that second 100 to the third 100. Alana Cummings is in second. Madeline Burns has now moved into third, just ahead of Jasmine, with Mia in fifth. Really nice tight battle for that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Sojin is comfortably in the lead here as she approaches that final 350-metre turn. 50 metres to go here. Alana is maintaining a distance over that chasing pack in second, and will turn with a body length lead over the Surrey Park teammates Jasmine and Madeline in lanes 2 and 3. So a reminder that Sojin's entry time was a 4:38.9, and she's going to swim a fantastic swim. Again, taking a big chunk of time off her entry time, coming in a 4:24.52. Picking up that speed in that last 100, coming home in a 104 high. So fantastic last 100. Alana comes in second in 4:39, just ahead of the Surrey Park teammates Jasmine and Madeline, with Kate getting into 5th place ahead of Mia. So now we have a new time to beat. So we've moved on to Heat 4. Amrita Subramania taking the early lead. So Amrita's in lane 1, Zoe lane 2. In lane 3 we have Ashley Dunn. In lane 5 we have Layla Mahfouz. In lane 6 Charlotte Boyle. Lane 7 Alexandra Southern. Lane 8 Tali Gant. And lane 9 Francesca Hamlin. Amrita continues to lead through this opening 75. All these girls have entry times in the 4:30 range, ranging from a 4:32 out to a 4:38. Amrita leads through that first 100. No, just Catherine Boyle takes over the lead, 103.9. And Catherine has extended that lead. And now moving into second place is Layla. So the battle has now become between lane 6 and lane 5, with Amrita over in lane 1 in third place. With Alexandra Southern challenging Amrita for that third place as we move through the 150 mark. Catherine Boyle has started to extend out to a body length lead over Layla Mahfouz as we start to approach the halfway turn. So they turn through that first 100 and 103.9 for Catherine. Let's see what speed she was able to maintain in this second 100. She's going to turn through the 200 in a 2:11.53. So that's a 107 through that 100. She's out to a body length and a half lead over Layla, with Alexandra Southern moving into third. Also swimming well in lane 8 is Tali Gant. And Tali has now moved into fourth, just ahead of Amrita, our early leader over in lane 1. Ashley Dunn is starting to make a move as well. That battle for third is nice and tight, as Catherine still continues to lead and is extended out to nearly 2 body length lead over Layla. And Layla is a body length and a half clear of Alexandra Southern, and that nice tight battle for third, fourth, fifth and sixth. We're now working our way towards the 300-metre turn. See if we're able to maintain that 107 speed that Catherine posted in that second 100. She turns through the 300 turn in a 3:20.33. That was a 108 for that 100, with Layla in second, and now Tali Gant moving into third place. Catherine Boyle continues to lead in this final 100. Tali Gant has consolidated third place and is now starting to make a move towards Layla in second as we approach our final 50 metres. All the athletes are trying to bring their legs in a little bit now. Keeps nice strong kick as we approach that final 50. So Catherine Boyle's got 25 to go now as she does her final turn. And she is going to take this fourth heat out comfortably. Probably not quite as fast as the previous heat. It's winning time. But will post a impressive time of 4:28.26. Ahead of Layla in a 4:32 and Tali in a 4:33. Ashley in a 4:36, and Rita in a 4:39, and then Zoe and Francesca. So good to see a number of our athletes swimming personal bests. A reminder, this is a time final, so there will be medals awarded for the 15-year-old age group, the 16-year-old age group, and the 17-18 age group. So lots of mini battles to look at as we hit the water with our fifth and final heat. Giselle Davey out to the early lead in lane 5, and she will lead through this first 50, just ahead of Claire Milligan and Abby Harrington. Giselle continues to lead through this 75-metre mark. So in this heat, in lane 1, we have Greta. There's lane 0, Greta. Lane 1, Brianna. 2, Ruby. Lane 4, Abby. 5, Giselle. 6, Claire. 7, Nicole. 8, Dakota. And lane 9, Mackenzie. So Giselle does lead through in a 102.2. But it's still nice and even. with Abby and Claire right up alongside her, and also swimming well in lane 2, Ruby Knott. So they're out marginally faster than those couple of heats before. So they're on pace to put themselves in contention for the medals. As Giselle still leads through the 150, with Ruby moving into second and Abby in Harrington in third. As we approach the 200-metre turn, Ruby Knott has taken over the lead at that 108.6. So they've turned that second 100 in about a 106s for most of those swimmers. So again, a little bit faster speed than that earlier heats. And now Abby Harrington looks like she's moved through into the lead at the start of this third 100. Giselle Davey trying to go with her, with Ruby Knott in third. So Abby and Giselle out to about a half body length lead over Ruby Knott, with Claire Milligan just a further half body length away in fourth. Abby's kept the pressure on in this third 100 and has got out to about an arm length lead over Giselle as we approach the 300-metre turn. We turn 3:14.4. So 105 high for that 100, 105 high. So again, we kept the pressure on and really made a move, and that's why these two have cleared out from the field. With 75 to go, they turn dead even. Giselle's had a better turn and moved fractionally ahead as we start to work towards the 350-metre turn and this final 50. I know neither of these girls will give up, even though they're actually competing in different events technically. Giselle has the best of the turns and has led out to a 3/4 of body length lead as we approach the final 25. Moving into third place is Brianna Burgess over in lane 1, with Ruby Knott in fourth. Giselle has now pulled out to a body length lead and is going to come in and take this final heat out, swimming sub 420 in a 4:18.65, ahead of Abby, with Brianna in third, Nicole in fourth, all those swimmers under the fastest time currently posted, with Ruby in fifth, Claire in sixth. So to work out our medal winners, they'll be divided into their age groups, and we'll have our medal presentation for those 400 freestyles shortly. That concludes the action here in the blue pool for this morning's session. Fantastic morning of swimming with lots of PBs. Great battles to qualify for the finals. We'll be back on air at 5 o'clock for this evening's final session. So we look forward to seeing you all tonight. Goodbye.